Alright guys, I decided to spin a wheel, and we wound up getting this person right here. This is the video I'm choosing to react to as a result of spinning the wheel. This is called Content Commissioner iDubbbz. This video went under several different titles. I saw, like, the Content Cop Multiverse. There was, like, some other guy, and then there was Cameron F305 in the thumbnail trying to take the mantle of the next Content Cop. There have been plenty of people who have attempted to take the next Content Cop. I think Cameron F305 is the most popular. He also makes the most sense to be the successor of Content Cop, in my personal opinion anyways. Like, he makes generally pretty solid stuff, and I always like to react to his stuff whenever it comes up. But yeah, I guess this video goes over it, I suppose.
We're all aware iDubbbz has had a historic downfall.
I just want to ask him if you've always been shitting your pants.
No.
Somebody who—
What a fucking— can I just say, what a embarrassing question, or an embarrassing thing to say about your partner on stream. You've always been shitting your pants. Like, live in front of who knows how many viewers. That's crazy to me.
who was once known—
To be fair, I guess, like, Anissa's technically a little more funnier than iDubbbz. iDubbbz is just, like, uber fucking soulless, and he's a coward of a man. Not that Anissa's a good person, but she's kind of funny. Like, she did, like, a bad Hila Klein impression. She was, like, making fun of Hila's accent. It was sort of funny, but it wasn't, like, you know what I mean? Like, it's still kind of, like, messed up and nasty.
as the content cop of YouTube, is now relegated to his wife's mother's basement and is eating the scraps of BreadTube's Twitch viewership, getting only roughly 200 live concurrent viewers.
Well, Twitch, I mean, in theory, Twitch is supposed to be a primarily left-leaning platform. It kind of always has been. There's been, like, people that have gravitated towards the left. Like, there's a level of acceptance and everything. Even Twitch, like, doesn't ban people as much who are more left-leaning. But, I guess with Asmongold, considering Asmongold makes a fuck ton of money for Twitch and he aligns himself with the insane right, I guess that's starting to change. But, I mean, the narrative, like, politically is already going back left, so who knows how long that's going to be the case for.
And that's being generous. And since everybody loves to see somebody become absolutely humiliated, we of course have a litany of YouTube videos criticizing iDubbbz. It has even become a cottage industry, in fact. But let me ask you this, if you lacked any originality whatsoever, what would you call your video on the guy that used to make Content Cop? Well, surely you would just make a Content Cop on him, right? So today I have picked out 4 different Content Cops that we'll be reviewing today, ranging from the ones that you already know to the obscure, from the American to the British.
That's interesting. I didn't know that there were 4 Content Cops on iDubbbz. It's very fascinating. Like I said, Cameron F305's is, like, the most popular, and so I generally, and also from what I've seen, his is, like, the best, but I guess we'll see.
From the famous to the literally lost media, I've chosen these 4 based off of the following criteria. The video title had to say that it was a content cop. The person in the video had to dress up like a cop, and the video had to be criticizing iDubbbz in some way, shape, or form. There are plenty of other videos I had to leave on the cutting room floor, so if you would like for me to do a part 2, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. And if you're aware of any other—
Damn, this really is like a whole genre on YouTube. People trying to be the next Content Cop and taking away the mantle from Ian. Damn. Imagine being so pathetic. You were a titan of a YouTuber, and you were seen as, like, the fucking king of hit pieces, iDubbbz, and only just to fall and have people try to replace you. That's gotta be a super pathetic position. And I say this as a former iDubbbz fan. I used to watch a lot of iDubbbz content in high school.
content cops made by others, then be sure to shout them out in the comment section down below, and perhaps I'll be able to react to them and add them into part 2. But with that said, let's get straight into it.
Let's get right into the news!
So the first of the videos that we're taking a look at is by Nugs TV being Content Cop Anissa's husband, which I think is a fairly good play on words, obviously. The whole meme is that Anissa's kind of the puppet master of iDubbbz, so calling iDubbbz Anissa's husband. Fair enough, fair enough.
Would that... I don't think that would technically be what play on words is. Play on words is like, for example, Call of Duty Zombies has a perk called Stamina Up. It's supposed to be Stamina, but Stamina Up is like a parody of 7-Up. That's a fun fact, by the way. Stamina Up is Stamina. Yeah, that's like play on words. Anissa's husband is just like a clever title.
Enough. But the really funny part is that this content cop is actually lost media. But if it wasn't for me actually researching this video well ahead of time, knowing I was going to react to this video could have just disappeared off the face of the earth. But luckily, I still have the link, and this video is unlisted, but I can still react to it. The unlisting of the content cop video seemed to have coincided with a channel rebranding from his real name to Nugs TV, but that's enough of the strange circumstances surrounding.
Yeah, I saw that this guy had like a content cop, and it seemed kind of okay. It seemed like solid. I would have preferred Cameron F305's content cop personally. I thought his was better. But, you know, I still think he did, like, a fairly good job. It's pretty much slam dunk content. Then again, I would say, like, a majority of iDubbbz's content cop content. It's content cop content. It was just, like, slam dunk content for the most part. Like, you know, the Fine Bros, that was a pretty huge slam dunk. You know, food review channels, that's a slam dunk. Reaction in, like, late 2015, iDubbbz did, like, a content cop on, like, reaction YouTubers, and everybody, including I Hate Everything and tons of other YouTubers, were shitting on React content creators because they didn't give transformative reactions. Now that we have, like, more, I guess, established on what is acceptable with React content, like, I like to think I do acceptable React content, where I try to pause and give as much meaningful commentary as possible, making sure the video is transformative. Now, is my content 100% fair use? I mean, I don't know, that's debatable. But I do the very best I can to make sure that it is fair use as much as possible by pausing and giving commentary, right? But yeah, the point that I'm trying to make is that a lot of Ian's content was slam dunk content. The only one I would say that was really like a massive risk was Leafy is here, because no one at the time was really criticizing Leafy. H3 tried to criticize Leafy back in March, and H3 got a fuck ton of pushback for that, and I guess H3 might... I think he, like, retracted at some point, or I think he might have, like, not... Like, I remember at the time a lot of people thought that H3 took an L for going after Leafy in 2016 at first. This was before iDubbbz even made the content cop. Then iDubbbz made his content cop. That was the only one that was risky because Leafy was still very popular and his fan base was extraordinarily toxic. But that was pretty much the beginning of the end for Leafy's career. And then Hey Watch Your Mouth made his hit piece and he wound up making Leafy's reputation even worse. It was basically the final nail in the coffin.
The content cop. Let's talk about the content cop itself. So I know the bar is really in hell after the content cop H3, where iDubbbz just...
Oh my god. Dude, before this content cop, it was the content cop on the Fine Bros. A lot of people say, and even Ian, when he went on H3's podcast, very much when it was in the beginning, like 2017, even Ian agreed that his Fine Bros content cop was the one that he would take back if he had to take back a content cop. Because it was just sort of jumping on the bandwagon. It wasn't really anything new, and he doesn't really want to do content that just, like, jumps on the bandwagon. He wants the content to stand out, which is a very valid, like, reason to criticize. That is until his H3 content cop came out, and oh my god, his H3 content cop and content deputy are easily some of the worst content cop content I have ever seen in my entire fucking life. It is... You think the Fine Bros one is bad, but somehow that is even better than these hit pieces, where he lies and then he lies by omission with the CPS stuff. It's pretty fucking crazy.
Kind of sits in a room. Like, really, this shit is so bad. It's so unentertaining. He just sits there and talks with a skit at the very beginning and end, with very minimal editing. And I must say,
not only is it minimal editing, he basically lies by omission as to why, like, he tries to make Ethan seem like a very erratic individual, but doesn't bring up the CPS context, which is a very important piece to the story. He purposely doesn't talk about that because he's deceptively creating a narrative that Ethan is a erratic individual.
Hey, this Nugs TV content cop is actually way better because it has editing and humor and skits.
Is that really what you think your content cops were? Just 20 minutes of you shouting slurs? If that's all you did, nobody would have liked you.
Hey, what's going on, guys? It's your boy iDubbbz. Welcome to a new content cop.
And today...
Well, I do think that the slurs part definitely... I guess from a lot of kids saw that as, like, pretty based and edgy, so it played a part in it. But that definitely wasn't the only reason people liked iDubbbz. I mean, a huge part of it was because he was edgy as fuck. But also, he did make a lot of really good arguments, and he actually was very intellectual. But as time went on, Ian just, he fucking lost so many IQ points over the years. Slowly but surely. It makes you wonder, like, I don't know. You think he sees the light, but he doesn't.
This video, we're talking about Tanamongu, but we're also talking about...
For the most part, yes, it is Nugs himself just sitting in a chair talking about Content Cop, but he actually sometimes gets out of it and does little wacky poses. Maybe he might just say something relatively funny, does the funny items, the items voice. I will say with that skit in the beginning, he probably should have invested in a dead cat or something to actually block the wind from completely raping my ears.
Okay, Jesus Christ, I don't know if I would have described it like that. That's pretty intense. Jesus fuck, dude.
What?
Yeah, the audio is bad, but like, it's a little bit... Listen, I say this as somebody who used to work on filmmaking. Getting audio right is fucking tough. Like, the sound guys, like, the sound department is like a whole field within itself, you know? Like, location sound, using boom mics. Like, wind is very tricky. If it's a windy day, that is very tricky. Sometimes echoey rooms are problematic. There's all kinds of different things that make it so fucking problematic.
Is this now hiring Content Cop spin?
He really needed to put like a dead cat on his microphone. You know, like, so just block that wind.
Why a dead cat in particular? What is it, Shane Dawson?
Like, this audio is just so bad. Why did you even do this? But the quirked up white boy shenanigans that he does in that intro is very much worth it. Completely makes up for my blown out eardrums. This is police brutality here. This is horrible.
Damn. This is why police reform was added. This is, like, you know why cops have to wear body cam footages and they have to wear more body cams for the operations that they do? This is why. Look at this poor baby with egg yolk in its fucking eyes. You can't even clear that shit out. The poor baby.
My biggest point of praise would be the pacing of this. It's not even 30 minutes long, but I feel like it explains so much. It gives a very brief overview of Anissa's relationship history with iDubbbz going all the way back to 2016. You can still follow along with what's going on. It really doesn't get lost in the weeds, which I think is an issue that a lot of especially YouTubers fall into, although it's not exclusive to them. And considering that this video was made in the wake of the Content Cop on H3, then you would think he would overly focus on that specifically, but no, this man is going through the whole history. He definitely gives that new Content Cop its time.
He even goes into the sewer, just like Ian did with his food review and other Content Cops. Honestly, the dedication, bro. As a kid, when Ian got pulled into the dark from the sewer, like in the sewers, that shit fucking made me laugh so hard as a kid, dude. I remember finding it so funny because there was nothing else like it on YouTube. Like, Ian was willing to, like, do so much crazy shit for content. And it really makes you wonder, how the fuck did he get in this direction? I still don't fully understand how he devolved into what he is now.
But he even goes into the Cart Narcs video that iDubbbz did, which is absolute garbage. If you've seen my reaction to that on stream, and also my iDubbbz crash out video. But the best part that really wraps up the Content Cop in general in a really nice package is the very ending, where this man claims that iDubbbz was always insecure about himself, which I'm...
Well, I don't doubt that. I mean, like, if you remember his I Miss the Old iDubbbz video, he would talk about how... I mean, he disavowed all of his old content, and he said that he's always been, like, an insecure person, and he always cared about what people think. That's, like, a massive revelation. I honestly would not doubt that. Because he always, like, cared about what other people thought about his content. He always did shit for content, and make it... Because that is, like, caring about what other people think to some extent.
I'm sure that iDubbbz himself would probably say as much.
As confident as he made himself seem in his prime. He's always been really fucking insecure, latching onto whatever group made him feel accepted. After the OnlyFans drama, a girl that he went on a date with in 2015 came out and called him weird and said that he didn't pay for their cheesecake factory. And then
That... Wait, hold up. I gotta see this. I gotta see this.
out and called him weird.
Okay. Hold up.
After the OnlyFans drama, a girl that he went on a date
I don't know what the fuck this is. Why did I only go on dates with problematic people when I was 19? Wait, you were... I mean... Whatever. I don't really care about you being 19. She recorded some parts of this video. He was a lot meaner back then compared to how he's now. That, I believe. He was very fucking nasty in terms of, his, content strategy. Made it clear that, to her that they were only friends with benefits exchange. Oh, then what? Wait, I'm sorry. Made it clear to her that they were friends with benefit. Okay, so you kind of understood that you guys were a fling, right? Like that, huh? They Skyped and played games together often, okay. After meeting in person, Ian told her to kill herself and ghosted her. According to her, KYS was just how Ian said bye. I mean, he was a lot more edgy back in the day. I don't know, man. I'm not gonna lie. This kind of seems like a bit of a nothing burger. I don't really care about this. Like Ian was obviously, like, edgy back then. Is it a little bit mean? Yes. But, it's pretty clear that you guys were only friends with benefits. Now, the making you pay for a date, I guess that's pretty fucking shitty. But I don't know, man. Like, I feel like this is just like a shitty... I don't really care about this that much, truthfully.
Cake Factory, and then the Sam Hyde drama that I
don't even know where it says that, like, I don't even know where she alleges that, like, she was forced to pay for the Cheesecake Factory stuff.
Get into, but this all slowly whittled at his self-esteem until we have what we do today, which is pussy dubs.
Respect for this man for standing on business, saying that, yeah, even at his peak...
Bro, he's even eating the sewer pickles and everything.
He's
going back to the lore.
Wasn't all that good, actually. He just happened to catch the wave that'd get him the most attention at the time. And the next one we have is actually a very interesting one, as it yields from an era before the big iDubbbz apology video of 2023. And it also even came out before iDubbbz decided to attack Froggy Fresh directly.
Interesting. So this video was sort of ahead of its time. I mean, even during this time, I was still very charitable to iDubbbz. And I think I've extended a lot of fucking grace to iDubbbz. Like, when he, like, changed his content, when he wanted to stop being edgy and stuff. Even when he made the I Miss the Old iDubbbz video, I was like, yeah, no, that's, like, fine. Like, I was charitable, and I sort of agreed. I guess I was kind of in a far-left space at the time, so I guess I was a little more sympathetic to that video, and I could understand where he was coming from. But then he just kept fucking up so much. And, like, as time went on, I mean, obviously I didn't pay attention to it as much. But the moment he, made that hit piece on H3 was the moment I unsubscribed. That was like, yeah, I cannot keep being charitable to iDubbbz anymore. Like, it really does seem like iDubbbz is just, like, fucking digging his own grave, and there's no reason to, like, be charitable to him whatsoever.
That would be the Content Copper by Can You Bra. It's called Content Copper because he's British. Get it? He's British in it. I actually remember when this video came out, as obviously 2023 was a huge year for my channel and also a huge year for iDubbbz just being completely shat on. Now, considering this video is before all of that drama, this has the potential to either be very, very, very outdated, or this British guy is just Nostradamus. I'm open to both possibilities here. Now, this Content Cop is split into some very simple parts to break down all of his criticisms of iDubbbz. It starts off with the simp arc, obviously in 2020, with the whole iDubbbz and Anissa.
I don't really care. Like, this, like, people constantly bring up this, like, OnlyFans drama that happened in 2020. And I gotta be honest, as much as you can, like, there's so many other, like, things you can criticize iDubbbz for, absolutely. The whole OnlyFans drama that happened in 2020 was so fucking overblown. Like, a lot of people were like, oh, his wife does OnlyFans, and then he kind of made, like, a video, wasn't the greatest video, but also, it really wasn't that fucking deep. I feel like people, like, heavily blew this out of proportion.
OnlyFans drama and a very poor response, just directly calling out his fans, which would then later become a reoccurring issue. Kenny Bro would also highlight how iDubbbz would disavow his old content and then throw his old fans under the bus, implying that they were morally inferior for liking that content back then.
Ah, yeah, you know, my old fans, the people that got me to the position where I am now. Yeah, those old fans that got me millions of views and gave me millions of subscribers. Yeah, those people. fuck those people.
Particularly with his...
I mean, I think that's a fair criticism. Like, disavowing all his old fans and disavowing all his old content is just, like, he overcorrected heavily in the I Miss the Old Items video. Again, no one has a problem with the fact that you don't want to be edgy anymore. That was never the issue. The issue is that you kept overcorrecting and you kept looking for good boy points online.
Content cop on the Fine Bros. Remember the Fine Bros?
Just generally making fun of them.
Yeah, you know, the fine bros, you know, those fine chaps that back in the day tried to monetize and copyright the word reaction.
Oh yeah, that was fucking, like, absolutely scummy. I agree. Like, the Fine Bros absolutely deserved the criticism, but the reason why, at the time, a lot of people thought that that was the worst content cop was because Ian was jumping on the bandwagon. He didn't really add anything new to the table. He just sort of said the same things that everyone else was saying at the time about it. So it didn't really... It's not really a content cop that's as remembered because it doesn't stand apart from the rest.
And then when they were called out for it by the commentary community, they fucking gave an awful response video. Yeah, you know those guys? It's a little awkward when I meet those guys, you know, because it's just a goof and gaff, you know.
After a short little skit, we then go see the Sam Hyde chapter. And wow, I watched the entire Truth About iDubbbz documentary, and I completely forgot just how pathetic iDubbbz seemed in this moment. And considering I'm watching a bunch of...
I mean, in the entire Sam Hyde documentary, like, here's the thing, right? I watched the Sam Hyde documentary, and I was kind of out of the YouTube drama scene at this point. Like, it was in 2022, so I wasn't really paying attention to YouTube drama as much. I watched the Sam Hyde documentary. I thought it was, like, okay. You know, like, I generally enjoyed iDubbbz's documentary series. But, like, it's pretty clear that he got absolutely fucking trolled and played by Sam Hyde. And Sam Hyde was, like, dead. Like, his popularity was fucking dead. Like, no one gave a shit about the guy until iDubbbz made this video, and iDubbbz put him back on the map, and now he's, like, popular again. And I mean, we all know how good of a guy Sam Hyde is, Mr. White Supremacist on Twitter.
Of different videos that are going over the same exact topics over and over again for this video. I will say that this Sam Hyde segment is probably the most unique out of the content cops, at least in terms of criticism, not in terms of the skits at all. Mostly because he's poking holes in the logical fallacies in iDubbbz's argument when it comes to his documentary.
But then in that same documentary, he also, when he's interviewing Sam Hyde, points to the post-irony statement, suggesting that Ian is trying to give Sam a taste of his own medicine when it comes to not being clear about your intentions. The funny thing is, iDubbbz himself states that he's not a big fan of doing this, that he doesn't really agree with this style of humor, of irony. So why is he trying to do it to Sam?
I mean, I don't know if I really care about this criticism. Sam Hyde is a legitimate white supremacist. Why would I give a fuck the moment Ian tries to give him, like, a taste of his own medicine? Like, again, you could criticize some of the ways Ian handled the Sam Hyde documentary. That's fine, but I don't really care about this point. It doesn't really matter that much.
Then get a segment on Anissa Joma and her past before meeting iDubbbz and how she behaves now. And of course, he would then use a clip of Sam Hyde calling out Anissa to segue to Creator Clash 2.
What does that say about you and how f***ed up you are? They said that you used your Alzheimer's father as a dramatic prop. That's what Creator Clash 1 was for? It was for Alzheimer's or something like that?
But must I say that Sam Hyde clip is actually a lot more damning on iDubbbz than the clip that he used for Sam Hyde in his actual video. And considering Sam Hyde is in the same room playing in this same exact Minecraft world in both of the clips, iDubbbz had to have actually seen Sam Hyde say that Anissa Joma does not care about her Alzheimer's-ridden father, but is just using him as a prop for Creator Clash. Like, how are you going to ignore that piece of criticism and then just focus on some pejoratives that Sam Hyde said? Interestingly enough,
it's also possible that maybe, like, Ian was just terrified of Sam. You could tell that he was a little bit scared of Sam Hyde when he was making the documentary because Sam Hyde is a unpredictable individual, and he is. Like, you don't know what the fuck he's gonna do. Like, it's hard to tell whether he's joking. It's hard to tell when he's actually being serious. A lot of times, I am under the belief that he tends to use a lot of jokes to communicate how he actually feels about something, which is why it's pretty clear, based on all the information available, that he is a white supremacist.
About this Creator Clash segment is that he's questioning the financials of Creator Clash 2 before iDubbbz just came out and said, yeah, we messed up, we lost money. What makes it even funnier that he's citing Bo Blacks of all people for this.
Information that's come out from this YouTuber who has suggested that each of the fighters are getting...
Well, this is before Bo Blacks, like, lolcowed the fuck out of themselves.
and their own proceeds from the event that aren't going to the charities.
Obviously, in the rearview mirror, this video is a lot less interesting, given all that we know about iDubbbz now and what he's came out since. But there is one segment in this video that I rarely see anybody else address, and it's iDubbbz's hypocrisy when it comes to the banter between boxing opponents. Unfortunately, this unique aspect is not really doubled down on at all. It's just used as a clip side by side of him making fun of Alex Wasabi, which is probably more in a joking tone, versus the comments that Froggy Fresh made that would end up with him getting kicked off. Then we cut to the final confrontation with iDubbbz in this content cop. Did you forget that there's supposed to be physical comedy in a content cop? Yeah, I sure have. And of course, it had to take place in a sewer. And yes, of course, it had to have a light.
Is this actually a sewer? It kind of looks like it's underneath a bridge. I don't know if it's actually a sewer. Doesn't look like one.
Lightsaber fight. And of course, it
I guess it could be. Maybe it's like a specific section of a sewer. I don't know how they do it in the UK.
had to have Star Wars Duel of the Face music. And then, yeah, then it has Metal Gear Rising. Is this some like Metal Gear Rising Revengeance shit? Yep, of course. I knew it.
I mean, points for originality on, like, the skit.
Now, this next one that we have is actually very interesting.
Bro, this guy looks like fucking... I don't know the word for it. I guess I'll just say Discount Logan Paul. That's what we'll call him.
Because it's not actually by anybody who made a name for himself on YouTube. He literally made this one video and left, and I actually find that quite respectable.
YouTubes. It's very, very meta way to make a hit piece on somebody.
Now, with that being said, obviously, since he's not a YouTuber, he's not exactly going up to the standards you'd expect a seasoned veteran of making content would be. In fact, he did one of the worst things you can do as a YouTuber and have a bloody boring intro. For the first 50 seconds, you're just getting a quick history. And I'm assuming if you're watching a video called Content Cop iDubbbz, you probably know the brief history of iDubbbz.
Well, not necessarily. I do think that there is valid criticism. There are some content creators, there's a such thing as giving too much exposition for a video when it's not necessary. It depends on the topic that you're talking about, of course. For iDubbbz, you don't really need to spend too much time talking about the overall history. A lot of people probably know about it, so you probably don't need to spend like a minute or 2 minutes. You probably just spend on like maybe like 30 seconds talking about it and then just like moving on and getting into actual meat and potatoes of your video. So it's not like a terrible criticism on the video.
But I am laying on the negativity quite thick, which, trust me, I actually did not have high standards going to this content comp at all. But when I actually went through it, it actually got better as I kept watching. It had a very slow start, but I actually quite enjoy it. I can actually respect the risky, bold decision to make the content comp theme not using the actual content comp, but the intro is using some other song. There we go. Okay. Oh,
that is very risky. It's not like the actual content cop theme. I like this. That's cool that he like took a risk and got like a different theme.
1 minute in, this does not sound like the Otis McDonald. That's a Waffle House. That's a Waffle House name tag. Does bro actually work at Waffle House?
But you don't understand. He's a Waffle House cop.
You will get Otis McMusic in the very end of this video. He didn't completely neglect the song. And I will say, obviously, it's probably a better choice just to go with the original, but I will say the pacing of the skit at the beginning is quite good and actually matches the theme. He's even in the costume for just about the entire video, which can't be said for most people. Not even including iDubbbz's new content cop. I know, crazy. A content cop where you're actually wearing the content cop uniform. Who would have thought? Getting into the contents of the criticism itself, he makes it very clear that he's not going to get for the low-hanging fruit. He's not going to call him names. He's not going to quote-unquote bully iDubbbz. He's actually giving constructive criticism.
I don't really care much for bullying. I think it's kind of low-hanging fruit, if you ask me.
I think he lingered on that point a little too long, but hey, it's a good principle to have. His whole chapter talking about the ego of iDubbbz and Anissa I find to be very compelling, but I will say this definitely did not age all too well, considering that he literally calls for iDubbbz to remove the Tana Mojo content cop if he were to be consistent with his new principles, which iDubbbz later did.
I mean, he Yeah, he did do that, right? I think that's an overcorrection. I don't think you need to delete all of your old content cops. I feel like that's very unnecessary. Because you have to remember that content cop came out in February of 2017. So people can recognize, wow, February of 2017, that is like that's 9 years ago, which that's actually fucking crazy to think about, because I remember the time when it first came out. I was like 15 years old when that content cop came out, and 15-year-old me was fucking geeking out. That was a good time for drama. And so I mean, like, I enjoyed it personally, but I can also understand iDubbbz looking at that and going, yeah, you know, I don't really align with that. And I feel like a majority of people could look at the present day that iDubbbz made his I Miss the Old iDubbbz video and realize, yeah, he probably doesn't subscribe to whatever ideas he had in his Tana Mojo content cop. Like, the one big point is, when it comes to slurs, either all of it's okay or none of it's okay. Obviously, very bad take. Shouldn't use slurs, period, is probably the better take. But at the time, Ian was pretty edgy, and he did use slurs for the sake of edgy content.
When he apologized.
If y'all actually felt bad about the whole Tanamongu thing, then why are you just casually dropping this on a podcast? Why aren't you, I don't know, making a public apology? Why is the video still...
I mean, he already did, though, right? Like, he did one in his I Miss the Old iDubbbz video.
Wow.
You know, like, the whole point of Content Cop is you're supposed to do, like, research on these things. Did he, like, just not watch that video?
No, I don't even really see a bit of remorse or a bit of real empathy on your face.
I mean, that's probably true, like, because, again, it's more so, it's less about, like, actually doing better and more so about just looking for good boy points online, if that's the route you want to take your criticism. But I don't even know if it's that. It feels like you just didn't... I don't know, man. He's kind of losing me a little bit, because it feels like he isn't really doing a lot of research into some of the things that Ian is even, like, actually saying.
When you say it, both of y'all are laughing about it, and it doesn't really seem like it's yeah, I shouldn't have done that. It's more like...
I mean, he shouldn't have. Just because him and Tana are laughing about it and reminiscing on... Who cares? They made up. They're doing better. Like, like, this is such a weak point.
Y'all don't judge me for it.
And he would come...
Oh my god. I don't know, man. Like, this hit piece started off, like, kind of okay. Like, the skit was cool and all, but he lost me really quickly with that point.
Constantly do this where he would say something, but within a month, iDubbbz would have his own apology video and then make the criticism around.
Oh, wait, did he make that's a good point. Did he make this video before iDubbbz made the I Miss the Old iDubbbz video? But that wouldn't make sense, because if he's talking about them laughing about it, like, they obviously would have met in person after iDubbbz made that video.
Relevant, which I think is really funny. Or maybe it's a sign that iDubbbz actually listened to this guy's criticism. Going in...
I doubt it. This guy was like a super small channel, and he just started out, and he, never made an upload since. I feel like, Ian wouldn't have listened to a guy as small as him.
To the Sam Hyde chapter, I actually find this to be really good too, because at the very end, he just completely called out iDubbbz's bluff. Because why should iDubbbz be expecting Sam Hyde, when recording the documentary, to actually open up to him? Sam Hyde is first and foremost a shitposter, entertainer, comedian.
That is a massive downplaying of who Sam Hyde is. He is also a legitimate white nationalist. Like, I don't know, like, why are people so fucking cowardly when they talk about... I don't understand it. Why are people so cowardly when they talk about Sam Hyde? I don't get it. Like, he uses these jokes to communicate that anyone that is not white is a bad person. Like, he communicates negative sentiment. He thinks that Arabs should not be in this country. He thinks that, like, H-1B visas are terrible. He was, like, dogpiling on Elon Musk just because he had, like, positive sentiment to H-1B visas. Not that Elon Musk is a particularly good person, but, like, Elon Musk was getting purity tested on the far right. One of those people being Sam Hyde doing that.
Did you think it was gonna happen, dude? Like, honestly, you go to Sam Hyde's place and he just, like, oh, opens up to you out of all people? Dude was...
I mean, that's probably true. Like, Sam Hyde is obviously not gonna open up to him. Like, that's just, like, he probably knew, like, when he was making the documentary that would happen.
A, trying to provide some entertainment since you were gonna punk him anyways. And B, he was probably just trying to flex a little bit too. I mean, like, might as well just let the guy do it. What's the worst that could happen? You get some, I don't know, entertainment on your fucking channel?
Out of all the criticism, I'd probably say that the Sam Hyde chapter is probably the ones that stuck the most, especially considering it's not being as covered as much by the other content.
I mean, it's a fair point, because Ian was trying to dunk on Sam Hyde, and Sam Hyde was trying to dunk on him, and it was like an endless, like, like, they were playing games with each other, and eventually Ian, out of embarrassment, deleted his own documentary on Sam Hyde. But it was, by the time he deleted it, it was already too late. Like, he was put back on the map of popularity, and people really enjoyed him. Which is why I think the documentary as a whole, in hindsight, is probably a mistake.
Cops, because right after it's covering Anissa and then Creator Clash and the Froggy Fresh drama. I have been covering that on and off for like 3 years now. I've been inundated with the Froggy Fresh drama. And for some reason, he decides to add in a funk segment where it's an edit of Mudahar reading the tweets out.
Wouldn't have the fight if not for her. That's why, numbnut. Of course, Froggy Fresh says, yo, hit me up to beat up your daughter's BF, Lamau. Lamau.
It wasn't all that entertaining, my feelings on Mudahar aside, but I guess it got the information across. I mean, I don't want to be too hard on him because this is his first YouTube video, at least the only one that's public on this channel. And for a first YouTube video, this sure is better than anything I could do. I mean, have you seen the first few videos on this channel? You don't want to.
I have not, no.
Don't look it up. Don't look it up. For as amateurish as it is, I do have a soft spot for it. Even if it is a bunch of talking points that we've already heard before.
I don't know. I feel like when it came to like his Tana Mojo point, it was a little bit odd. And I really don't understand why people are just so, like, this is a criticism to this YouTubes guy or whatever, like, he prefers to be called, and the content creator that's covering this. Like, I just don't understand why people are scared to bring up that, like, Sam Hyde is, like, an actual fucking white supremacist.
And I've had to been hearing and even making throughout the past 3 years. I'm still finding it hard to believe that 2023 was 3 years ago. There's a really nice detail. At 2 minutes in, he just starts shaving off his beard, leaving only a mustache. It's not like he had a bad beard, but it is the quintessential cop aesthetic to have only a mustache. And he pulls it off quite well, I must say.
Cameron F305. All right, now this is a content cop I'm familiar with. I might be a little bit biased, but I think Cameron's content cop is the best one and the most well put together one.
And I think I saved the best one for last because...
Hell yes. There we go. That's what I'm talking about.
We have the most recent and the one you most likely have already watched, the one by Cameron F305. Whereas the others I've reacted to for the most part were posted in 2023, a lot of them before iDubbbz made his infamous apology video, Cameron F305 was mostly inspired by the content comp on H3H3 back in 2025. And funny enough, so many events kept happening after that content comp on H3H3 that Cameron had to keep updating the video after he was recording it like weeks later just to give up.
Well, yeah, because iDubbbz was like the center of draw. Dude, iDubbbz really fucked himself over by making that H3 content cop because, first of all, he made that while he was running Creator Clash 3, and Creator Clash 3 was heavily funded by Ethan Klein, and so by making this hit piece on Ethan Klein, you essentially not only fuck over the funding that is put into that event, the only person that was willing to fund it, but you also fuck over the fighters that are competing in Creator Clash that had positive sentiment or that had good relations with Ethan Klein. Harley Morenstein was one of them. Tons of other people, I can't think off the top of my head, but Harley Morenstein is definitely one that comes to mind that wasn't boxing. And yeah, I think Freddie Wong was another one that was like supposed to, yeah, or Freddie W. Yeah, that was his name. I remember I used to watch Freddie W. back in the day as a kid. But yeah, like things kept happening. He got like Hassan in his content cop. And like a lot of people, I would say for the most part, like optically Hassan looked better than Ethan for a while. Just because Ethan, I don't know, I guess he's just, like, very petty, and a lot of people just don't like Ethan because of how petty he can get. But people hate iDubbbz so much that, like, once he, like, associated or, like, made a hit piece on Ethan and, like, he started associating with Hassan, people started to like Ethan a lot more because people just hate iDubbbz so goddamn much.
Updates on Creator Clash 3, which would later get cancelled. Not to mention the later content deputy iDubbbz would post himself. iDubbbz really found an op in the most strange of places because Cameron F305 was an iDubbbz fan. This guy actually went to Creator Clash 2 in Tampa, Florida. Yes, the same Creator Clash 2 that failed, lost a bunch of money, kicked Froggy Fresh off, but it was supposed to go to charity, at least we all thought. And
yeah, well, Creator Clash, they called it a charity event, but it wasn't actually like a real charity event. And then Creator Clash 3, you think Creator Clash 2 was bad. Creator Clash 3 is like an absolute... Calling it a disaster is putting it lightly, is all I'm gonna say. Like, Ian fucked over all the creators. Like, after his dog shit hit pieces, and after he optically made the fights look bad, after people were dropping out of Creator Clash 3, he just completely left running Creator Clash 3 and left it to whoever the fuck was running the event, like to Ego, Raptor, and all the other people. And inevitably, they had to cancel Creator Clash 3 just as a whole. And we're probably never going to see another Creator Clash event for the end of time. Until the end of time.
Cameron, before he became the new content cop, he was doing Five Nights at Freddy's fan games and music for the Yandere simulator.
Oh yeah, that was like a controversy within itself. And Cameron, like, obviously he was a little bit charitable to Yandere Dev at the time Yandere Dev's allegations came out, where at the age of 35 or 36, he was like talking to like a 16-year-old on Snapchat. And he was asking them for nudes and stuff. Like, obviously, I'm pretty comfortable with saying Yandere Dev is a threat to children. But Cameron F305, I think he was a little more charitable at first because he knew Yandere Dev since he was like 12 or 11. He's been working on the game for a while. But now I'm pretty sure Cameron like actually disavows Yandere Dev.
Yandere Dev really is an unfortunate man to ever be associated with. But enough.
Yeah, sure.
Of the context surrounding the video, let's just talk about the video itself. A breath of fresh air considering the previous videos we were watching actually starts at the iDubbbz apology video. It's not going into all of the drama when it comes to Froggy Fresh right off the bat. It will be mentioned, however, but it's mostly to establish what are iDubbbz's new principles, and using the hypocrisy argument of iDubbbz's new principles that he proclaimed in 2023 versus what he's doing in his 2025 content cop on H3H3. If you remember in his addressing the Froggy Fresh situation video, iDubbbz was very much against using the hypocrisy when it comes to his old videos versus him now, but obviously that was before his apology video. He should be held up to the standards he set for himself, which he's obviously not following when it comes to...
Yeah, and he's obviously gotten worse with that over the years because he's contradicted himself more and more, and I think part of that is just because of the fucking CTE in his brain. Nothing ever really clicks to him anymore, and so he probably has like Asmon Goldfish brain where he like forgets things very easily and he just forgets his own values. I genuinely think that's what it is, the whole CTE thing.
H3H3, a friend that he had for nearly a decade before squandering it. A really good inclusion to have at the very beginning of the video is his argument that iDubbbz just makes very bad videos nowadays, which if you looked at iDubbbz's lineup from that apology video until 2025, yeah, it's bad. I remember back in 2023, I would occasionally stream reactions to iDubbbz videos, see what he's actually up to, and it's genuinely the most boring shit ever. That's why I had to stop. It just became boring.
Yeah, it was incredibly soulless content. I mean, like, the whole point of Ian, he built himself up to be, like, this edgelord and, like, a guy that does, like, a lot of unconventional content, but now he's just soulless. Like, there's no punchline to anything. It's just, like, random, dumb... moronic stuff, quite frankly, and it's just like there's the life that used to be in his videos is no longer there. Like he is a husk of a human being.
Nothing incendiary to it. There was nothing really to react to.
Quite frankly, like I understand not wanting to be edgy anymore, but like you could still, in theory, you could still be edgy. Just don't use slurs. You know what I mean? Like if you don't say slurs at all. Don't use any, like, bad words. You could still, in theory, be edgy and, like, still have punchlines to your jokes and, like, evolve. You know, like, evolve with the YouTube landscape.
To react to ants on a log. Why did iDubbbz think it would be entertaining to post ants on a log? What is he doing here? But clearly iDubbbz did see that his views were very much waning because he's just not entertaining. So he decided to just switch up and basically become a bread tuber, making political arguments for videos, not even trying to be funny or entertaining at all. And that will segue us right into the Content Cop on H3H3 segment. And what Cameron does magnificently well here is that he establishes who iDubbbz is currently friends with especially the ones that were featured in the video, like Frogan, like Denims, like Shonda Black, and obviously like Hassan Piker. And then he contrasts that with how iDubbbz decided to throw H3H3 under the bus after he had a minor disagreement with Hassan Piker, which blew way out of proportion.
Well, it mainly stemmed from the fact that Hassan's chat was being incredibly anti-Semitic to Ethan. They were saying a bunch of horrific shit. They were also calling him like a Zionist guy that supported killing babies, and they were like saying a bunch of really defamatory things in Hassan's chat. And Hassan, like, I understand as a streamer or a content creator, there's very little you can do about your audience and the shit that they say. This is one of the very little things you can do, actually, is like actually set boundaries, have people moderate your chat more. He didn't want to do that, though, because he was trying to grift for like the Israel-Palestine conflict. So, and he didn't really care to do it. And that's why the Leftovers H3 podcast dissolved inevitably. And because, and then people were like basically falsely calling CPS on Ethan and then like sending 2 human skulls to his house and like harassing the fuck out of him. iDubbbz couldn't at the bare minimum be like, hey, listen, you know, we don't want to get involved in the drama between Hassan and Ethan, but all we say is that we condemn what Ethan is, we condemn people doing that to Ethan, especially considering Ethan has been very loyal, very friendly, very respectable. He's like really the only person that was funding the Creator Clash events and that was actually there for Ian when nobody else would be. And Ian, for short-term clout, decided to destroy that 8-year friendship that he built with Ethan just for this, only to fuck himself over more than anybody else. And that is karma at its finest.
Over a country in the Middle East that neither of them currently live in. All of this sets the stage at completely debunking everything said in the Content Cop on H3. It was so bad, it made me sympathetic for H3. This response to this Content Cop may be the most thorough dissection of this video.
Yeah, I mean, I've been very on and off when it comes to Ethan Klein over the years. I generally like him now, I would say. But during COVID, I would say COVID in, like, 2019 was when I really fucking did not like Ethan Klein, just because I wasn't a huge fan of, like, the pettiness. Like, I feel like Ethan kind of went out of his way to be, like, unlikable at times, and there was a lot you could criticize him for. But after this whole Human Skulls thing and, like, sending fucking CPS to his house for no reason, that's what made me like Ethan a lot more, because people were being absolutely nasty to him.
That I have ever seen. Obviously, H3's responses, the multiple that he gave, were very thorough in his own right, but obviously he went a little too far into the weeds talking about a fucking anime sword that Hassan Piker bought. And obviously, since it was live for the most part and H3's video response was much shorter than this, it shouldn't exactly be expected that H3 would have every clip on hand necessary to completely debunk iDubbbz instantly. But considering H3H3 has decided to prop up Cameron, then I suppose they have an alliance there. I also have to give kudos considering—
That is true. I do remember H3H3 was following Cameron on Instagram or whatever, and yeah.
Cameron is not doing a very dry response. He is actually having humor in there, very similar to how iDubbbz would actually do it way back then.
Quite honestly, I should have known that the second you decided any of those tattoos that make you look like a reformed skinhead looked good to you. Maybe it was the LASIK surgery that went a little too deep into your eyes and melted your brain. Maybe Sam Hyde kicked you too hard. Cameron, please stop being a cyberbelly.
Which brings me to another point.
He also does the iDubbbz voice so perfectly. It's actually crazy how identical it is to the like actual iDubbbz Content Cop voice that he puts on.
To speak to why this video just got so many more views than the other ones. It's probably the timing, but for the most part, it has to do with the excellent aesthetics and actually understanding what made iDubbbz appealing way back when. This is the most authentic Content Cop that I have seen since 2017, and that is including the new one that iDubbbz posted just last year. The comedy skit at the very beginning, obviously to the tune of Otis McMusic, feels just like it could have been from one of those old Content Cops. The humor, it is very much iDubbbz. There is definitely Cameron's own taste in there. There was definitely a FNAF 2 jump scare sound in there multiple times throughout the video.
Yeah, and like Cameron did like a solid job of replicating the energy of what an old Content Cop feels like. And I gotta say, I understood, I think, every single old iDubbbz reference that he made in his videos. You could really tell he was a fan of iDubbbz back in the day, as was I, you know, if you were a true fan of iDubbbz back in the day. But like now that Cameron has made multiple Content Cops on different people, like, I think one of my biggest, like, criticisms or, like, things Cameron could do going forward is eventually you gotta stop relying on all the old, like, references and nostalgia from the old content cops and, like, start adding your own spin on it and creating brand new things. Like, his Dan Clancy hit piece wasn't really a content cop, but it was a solid video that I enjoyed because I guess part of it's just because I am very passionate about, like, the whole TwitchCon sexual misconducts that have been happening for fucking years, and Dan Clancy pretty much enables a lot of it, I would say.
I don't remember iDubbbz doing that, but you know what? For the badges for Cameron now. This dude somehow managed to raise more money for cancer charity than iDubbbz did in Creator Clash 2. Or
that part I didn't even know about. That's insane.
Creator Clash 3 for that matter, considering Creator Clash 3 got canceled.
That's a flex and a half.
This content cop really is lightning in a bottle. Like, it had to take somebody who is definitely socially awkward. I am assuming things right now, but since he was literally making music for Yandere similar, I'm just going to assume he was socially awkward. He knew what the internet was like back in 2016. He knew the group that iDubbbz surrounded himself with and what his enemies were back in 2016. And he can definitely just pinpoint every single point that changed along the way. How iDubbbz went from point A to point B, all the way down to hell. This is the most thorough takedown of iDubbbz I have ever seen. Despite it being 90 minutes long, a literal feature-length movie, it does not feel like...
Well, a lot of hit pieces were like feature-length films as well, so...
It's that long. The runtime does not feel like it's bloated. He talked about everything that he needed to say without any extra fluff or filler. And since that one video was so good, Cameron decided to just take it all the way, and now he's just the content. He's still making content cops. And it's so funny, if you were to look at his channel, his newest videos right now, you can see that the reason why he's just going with the content cop, because every single video where he tries to not do a content cop, it just doesn't get nearly as many views. Maybe if the content cop career goes under, he'll actually get back to working on Five Nights at Freddy's fan games, but who knows? With all that said and done, I think it's time that we rank the content cop videos. Well, I don't think any are bad by any right. I would rank them as such. Cameron's is S tier, as you could probably guess, followed by Nugs TV, who I put in A tier. B tier would be Can You Bra, the content copper, the British one. And C tier, I would go with YouTubes.
I probably would put YouTubes in D tier, or I would say D tier. The only redeeming quality about it is the skits. Like, a lot of the points he made were very weak, truthfully. I wasn't a huge fan of it. Obviously, Cameron's is the best. I think he is the most worthy of being the content cop successor, but that's just the opinion of oneself.
Which C is a pretty good tier considering that's his one and only video on the channel. Assuming he has...
But I generally agree with, like, the order of this, I would say. Like, I forget this British guy's name. Or this guy that lives in the UK. Like, he probably, like, B tier, C tier-ish. And then the Nugs TV one was, like, okay. But generally speaking, I'm going to gravitate that Cameron had, like, the best one.
No prior experience to this. This is actually really good. But as a reminder, I may do a part 2 if there's enough interest, so be sure to comment down below what other content cops you would like me to cover. And if anybody who actually made those content cops are actually watching, thank you so much. I actually did really enjoy watching all these and talking about them. It's a meta narrative about spin-offs of a series made by somebody else talking shit on the guy who originally created the format. I would like to think that's at least more entertaining about talking about iDubbbz's every waking minute that he's streaming. It's shit. He literally makes garbage. Somebody needs to travel back in time like 10 years to show iDubbbz what he's become, because frankly, there's...
What the fuck happened to the mic quality?
No way he would like what he sees.
Did you, like, add, like, a low-pass filter in, like, this outro? Apart from the Sam Hyde point and, like, not bringing up that he's a white supremacist, which I think is very important context, and, like, I guess, like, glazing YouTubes' video a little too hard, I would say this video was overall pretty solid. I can't really complain that much. Just apart from that, like, one part is, like, really the only thing I had an issue with on this video.